up? Welcome back for another episode of the Currency Club. Today's special guest is Christian Nelson. Christian is doing big things in two different areas that very much influence culture, right? So he is a singer, songwriter, award winner, vocal producer, commercial jingler, and the CEO of Salute Tees. So, he's in the fashion game too. What's up, Christian?
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Christian Nelson. Salute to y'all, man. Thanks for having me. I'm actually from Michigan. Mother and father are both Nigerian born, but born in Huntsville, Alabama. Grew up in Michigan, so that's pretty much all I know, but still a Southern boy at heart. Been doing music a while. Figured out in school that that I was big into the arts. I had some opportunities to do some really major events as far as like singing national anthems, and that kind of propelled me into doing what I'm kind of doing now. So yes, I'm a singer-songwriter. I've worked with Jagged Edge production, Carl Thomas production. I've worked with some Afrobeat artists that are doing major things.
Afrobeats is definitely the wave right now. I was not hip to it at all. I had a friend named Jasmine. We went to Caravana, not sure how you pronounce it, but we went there like 3 years ago, and she had this on her playlist and a bunch of songs in her rotation. And I was like, I never knew that this type of music existed. I'm ignorant to it, but thank you for exposing me to it. So I love that. Talk about Christian Nelson music.
A lot of influences. Like I said, I grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, so we grew up listening to Chico DeBarge and all the DeBarge family. They're from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I worked with some of their family. I've always kind of liked to put out kind of classy type of sensual, conscious type of energy. I grew up in the inner city, so it has a little element of that too. Love hip hop and rap, so there's a little fusion of that. I figured out or found out kind of early that I was good at songwriting. So I worked on a lot of different artists behind the scenes at a younger age. So that's kind of how I got exposed to some of these circles that I'm in now. I was kind of playing that role where I was helping other artists get to their level, whether it might be arrangement or background vocals or co-writing the song or coming up with good concepts and stuff. I basically was doing my thing in Michigan for a while I was going to college. I actually went to Ferris State University and did a year there and transferred to Michigan State University while doing some dual enrollment at the Lansing College. But all the while, I was performing on campus, singing national anthems for some of the basketball games at Michigan State, some of the hockey games at Michigan State. And that kind of propelled my name to some of people in Detroit, Michigan that were doing some things. And I kind of got hooked up with some of those production teams of Carl Thomas and Jagged Edge through a pipeline through Detroit. Fast forward 2007, I made it to Showtime at the Apollo. I actually had to go on audition. I made the cut. I rubbed that wood like Michael, like Trey, like Alicia Keys, like Mary J. Blige. It gave me an extra set of confidence, just what I know I could bring to the table. I didn't win that night. I didn't get booed. I came in fifth that night. I learned a lot, met a lot of people. I've also dabbled in The Voice. I dabbled in American Idol. So my story is one of doing all these things to reach your dream, understanding that even if you didn't make it where you thought you were going to go, take that experience and build on your talent and your craft. Moved to Atlanta in 2009, and I realized that I had more work to do. Because a lot of the Atlanta artists, what I figured out here, the local artists even look like they're ready for TV.
Presentation-wise, the outfit, the wardrobe, the stage presence, what do you mean?
The whole thing, the presentation, the promo, the pictures, the videos, they're already creating their own kind of wave. All they need is maybe distribution from a major label, or they really want you to be doing your own thing before they come in and invest in you. Kind of noticing that, I started working behind the scenes, writing with artists like Drea Love, some of the major ATL artists, just helping write and co-write and produce and things like that.
How do you categorize your music? Like, what genre is it? I heard you say sensual, I heard you say conscious, but how do you describe it?
They say R&B. I just stuck to the rhythm and blues. Like I said, I'm a songwriter too, so I've been called to do some contemporary work over my career. Understanding that I have more to give than just one genre. Sometimes pop, I've done it all, international, or rhythm and soul, you could say, but there's a hip hop element too, because I'm really into hip hop. Like I might rap. Yeah, there is stuff though out there if you can find it.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about how you did Showtime at the Apollo. You did, I think you said American Idol and a few other things. Yeah. And you said you learned a lot along along the way. What are some of the greatest lessons?
Take that lesson, make it a part of your story. Just because you didn't make the cut doesn't mean you're not good enough. A lot of times they're looking for something specific. It might not have to do with talent so much. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Be confident in what you bring to the table and work on getting better, perfecting your craft. See, people want to know that you're confident in what you do. Then, that's when more of the support comes.
So I know you're a songwriter. Have you ever sang to, rap to any music that was composed by somebody else? Like, did you ever use a ghostwriter?
You know what? I have allowed some of my guys to write some stuff for me. I don't let it happen a lot. You need those other heads in the studio sometimes because they hear different than you. Some of the guys are a little younger. They got the Generation Z going. You know what I mean? It's good to take advice. Even if you think you really got it like that, it's still good to bounce ideas. Be a little, humble. You know what I mean? If someone wants to give you constructive criticism, it's sometimes for the best.
Most times for the best. I 100% agree. I do the same thing. I come up with a concept that I think is fire, and then I ask at least 5 people for feedback. Like even with Currency Club, I'm like, I want to call it this. What do you think? And they're like, I don't know about that. Have you thought about this? Because I explored other names before I came up with Currency Club. But logos, visuals, stuff from my t-shirt line, everything, I always bounce ideas off a group of trusted individuals who I feel like have some credibility in the game that I'm trying to get into. So you did some name dropping in the beginning of the interview, which I liked. Are there any other artists that you worked with that you felt like, oh, this was a unique opportunity? It was, something I'm really proud of.
Polar Dawn, I worked with Zaytoven. I've had a couple features in some movies. Birds of a Feather 2. I worked with Big Von. I've worked with Ice Cube. We did some of the Big 3 soundtrack for the basketball tournament. I've worked with Z Money. He's been on Shameless. He's an LA rapper, actor. He's got an international presence. We did a lot of his album, and a lot of his album included Silento's production people, which is the with Nene guy. Yeah. So right now I'm actually working with Mr. Hanky. We're actually producing a couple records right now, basically working with him and seeing if the record is going to be for me or for another artist. For the audience out there, Mr. Hanky did Living My Best Life by Lil Duval and everybody that was on that record. You got Twerkulator by City Girls. He also did the California record with Colonel Loud and T.I. and Moneymaker, Ludacris. I mean, I could go down the line. So I'm in those confines now. We're working on my new project. So I'm releasing music. I'm writing music. What I'm telling young people, young artists, you might not have the limelight, but there's still a place for you. The game is saturated, so you want to find your place. You want to be able to bring more to the table so that you're more valuable. For some of the artists that are kind of getting up in age and stuff, pour into these young artists. Help them write, guide them, still live vicariously through them, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, what am I going to be doing, music till I'm 60? I don't know. I mean,
you might be writing, doing something else behind the scenes. Yeah. But is there anyone else that you want to collaborate with? Who's on your wish list? Give me your top 3.
I'm a big Ryan Leslie fan. The swagger, the style, the intellect, bringing more to the table. When I talk about doing that, I picked up a lot from him as far as just being multifaceted. I think Usher. I want to get some working with Ush. I think it'd be kind of cool to work with Tank too. He's a vet in the game, and I've always listened to a lot of his music too.
Talk to me about networking. How do you get into the rooms with these people? Who is putting your name in the conversation?
I love the questions you're asking, Whitney, because people wonder about this. Yes, you got it. A lot of it comes from some of my colleagues in college. We've kept in touch. We built. They have, graduated to certain places. They always knew that I was in the arts and music. My name gets dropped in that way. Some I've actually built these relationships from the grassroots, being on the scene, getting an opportunity to sing something and then meeting people that way, building with Eric Thomas, Jeremy Anderson, and getting in front of these guys to support my brand and hold up my t-shirts. And, I was in those places, but I was very, very deliberate about what I was trying to get done in a respectful manner. All these people that I've kind of ran by and tried to, get some jewels from at the same time, build my brand. Sometimes it's a phone call. Sometimes it's people recognizing that you've been working hard for a long time and they want to get you involved in, certain events so that, you get a chance to shine or rub your shoulders I talk a lot about building your network.
Your network determines your net worth.
You
Like all the
already
rich
know.
people say. Is that where
You
you're
already
going?
know. It was those talks, those relationships. It was like, you know what? I know this guy. He works hard. He's going to bring something to the table. Let's have him come in and at least sit down. And then, you know what I mean? And then I watch my favorite people, what emails to follow up with, present it right, send an email that they are going to definitely not ignore. So, you know, having the right people on your team.
Who is on your team? What are some of the roles and responsibilities? Look, is it like a group of friends from the neighborhood that you brought with you, or is it industry people who already were in the game and you just made those meaningful connections?
Good question. It's a little bit of those. Some industry people, some people that I've worked with for a while. Well, basically, they update my website, upload my music on DistroKid. They'll send me any leads or anything for any shows coming up. Book my studio time if I need that. Make sure my rider is filled if I have a show coming up, go pick up my wardrobe, advice, following up with emails, reaching out to, you know, interested clients.
Do you have a wardrobe stylist?
Yeah, sometimes,
okay.
But I do dress myself a lot. I usually give them the budget. They know what I like. I'm just going to be honest with you. I take a lot of style from Ryan Leslie. You know, I like the jacks, the members only. You know, I like the epaulets. I like the not too much jewelry. I like a real classy type of fly, like signature pieces kind of guy. Accessories, not too gaudy, but clean.
Have you ever been signed to a label?
In college, I was signed 3 times in my career. The earliest time I was about 22, 23, I signed a New Venture Promotions deal with a group out of Detroit. And basically they just were promotional management kind of deal. We signed with them for a year and they had promised me like a line of credit and stuff, and things didn't really go the way we thought. So we ended up kind of voiding that contract out. In 2006-07, I signed with UGF Entertainment. It was a local label, but they had some backing. They were promoting me. We were satisfied with, you know, how they were trying to get me out there and this and that. They had some ties with some labels, but after I moved to Atlanta, I kind of null and voided that contract because I felt like Atlanta was just too big for what they were bringing to the table. And then last but not least, I signed with MEG Records 2020. I signed with them. They were basically giving me a distribution deal. But what happened was some of the main players, they were not all the way on the up and up. Even though they put my music out on radio and things of that, we had to null and void because the numbers didn't add up at the end. So right now, the independent wave is really where we're at. And we're just kind of keeping an eye out for distribution deals and things of that. Now that I work with Mr. Hanky, you know what I mean? Like, I actually have the source to go to. Like, all it takes really is a song that he's invested in that I produce. And, you know, we're gone.
What's the number one benefit to being signed to a label? Was it promotion and or distribution, or is there some other benefits?
I like the not having to worry about certain things being done. I was able to focus on my artistry. So the food was covered, travel was covered, per diem, and then, you know, people that came along with me know they're covered. They're doing the promotion. That part is all good. Now, in today's world, the distribution is gonna be it. You get your music out, you have the platform for people to put it all over the world the way it needs to be heard. I think that's the biggest benefit. Like, because I really just want to share my music with, you know, people that, you know, love music. You know, one of my names of my my projects was Music Lovers Only, you know, kind of like a kind of a twist off of that, you know what I mean? So the biggest thing is some of the leisure that comes. You kind of take your jacket off just a little bit because you know you have a machine that's working for you now because they believe in you in the sense of selling records.
What do you hope to get out of your music career?
You know, honestly, man, I hope that people find the richness in my music, to find the richness in my story, and it helps them and impacts them to change or maybe adjust, think a little bit deeper. I just want people to like hear my music and be able to reflect, just have a moment of like, you know, remembering a great time or being triumphant or something maybe you were trying to get through, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be that kind of artist. I don't want to be so like cut and dry R&B.
Yeah, I like that. It's like you don't want to put yourself in a box and just be R&B. Because I feel the same way when people talk to me about what you do. I'd be like, what don't I do? Content creator. I have a job in corporate America. I'm a business owner. I'm an author. I wrote a book. I do funny content. I do outfit of the day content. I do money content. What don't I do? I don't put me in a box.
I need to interview you. Shoot.
So talk to us about your new single, Good Enough.
this song embodies what's happening right now. Sometimes you deal with people that, may not think you're good enough. The song just speaks to believing in yourself and how I can be in different places of the country and get a kind of respect that I didn't even get from people that are in my network.
So why should people listen to it if they don't know who you are, if they're not familiar with your music?
It's a bounce, it's a vibe, and it's a little message to it too. Like, just understand, even people that may say that you're not good enough, it doesn't mean anything. Take that, use that, and show them why you're good enough.
So the show is called The Currency Club. Some people listening want to know how you make money from being in the music industry.
I get paid through BMI. I am with BMI, so every 3 months I do get a check. BMI they basically the payout for some of the artists. They make sure all your music is broadcasted on all radios or all TV. Anywhere they catch your work at, you get paid for that. Some cents on the dollar. Every 3 months, every artist gets a check if they've done some work in the industry or on TV, commercial, you get paid that way. If an artist isn't really doing a lot, it can be kind of tough. The more work you have, the more you get paid. You go to BMI.com and you can start your membership usually for free. There is ASCAP, there is CSAC, same idea, where artists get paid for putting their profile on those platforms. When their music gets pinged, those platforms catch those pings and you're paid cents on the dollar, depending on what you have negotiated with the people you've worked with. So there's that way I get paid. I also I ran a t-shirt line for 3 years, so I still make money on some of the sales from that for my business.
We're gonna get into that before the interview's up.
I'm a hustler, so a lot of the resources that I built, I leverage selling those to people that need services, and I put my commission on that. So once you've gained some value of what you bring to the table, you can offer a service, and I offer those services that come with a retainer or upfront deposit, and then on the back end, we have some money coming in too. So I also always kind of worked in healthcare too, low key. As an LPN was kind of my background, when I was in college. And
important work.
I also am the casting director for Nigel Wives of Atlanta. We haven't even gotten to that yet. This is a show that's on Afroland TV network. They already have Nigel Wives of Dallas, Nigel Wives of Toronto, Nigel Wives of Hollywood, which my sister is in that show. She's another journalist, big journalist. Then I'm gonna connect you with her after this. She's doing her thing crazy. She actually just finished a show. This is all the network, right? She's made the call for me in LA, hey, Christian, we got some artists here. Come out here and that's how I got into the Afrobeat. She actually called me, plugged me in, you know what I'm saying? So as far as making money, as long as you can bring some value to the table, you can put a price on your services. We're dabbling in some real estate right now. That's really big. Airbnb, things like that, when we're not using my home. Just different creative ways that, in a day like today, where you can make money. I have a love for feeding the homeless. I do that on the side. I don't need no company. I don't need no organization. I ride around sometimes with perishables in my trunk, pull up, build with people. That's been kind of important to me. Just having those conversations with real people, giving them some encouragement.
I want to switch it up and play a little game. And this game is called I'm a Hustler. What's the craziest thing you've ever done for money?
I did drive 12 hours from Atlanta to Detroit to do a show, but I did not have a license. When I arrived, the high that I was on, because I knew that they were counting on me to get there. And if anything went wrong, we'd probably be held up. You know what I'm saying? So
look, did you get paid for the show once you got to Detroit?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. I got paid everything. That took care of hotel, took care of my people.
You mentioned earlier that you are a business owner. You have a clothing line or a t-shirt line, apparel line, Salute Tees. Let's talk about it.
I started that in 2017. And what I tried to do was mirror that like a campaign, like a presidential campaign. So basically, I had the saying, the symbol, and then the flag, just like a country. We the people that salute others, that are persevering and prospering in an age like this while empowering their communities. Basically, what that means is just highlighting ordinary people doing extraordinary things. At that moment in my career, I was like, I need to jumpstart my music again. How do I do that? Let me do it by making sure I have my merch on every time I'm in the studio. So basically, that's what happened. I started showing up at these places with the Salute shirts on. People started kind of catching on. I knew Salute was going to take off because it's not just, accepted by the armed service. it's a term of respect. At that time, we were dealing with a lot of the injustice with police officers and things of that. And I wanted to showcase people that were still reaching their dreams, even though they were going through the trenches to get there. Just like a soldier going through the trenches to reach your mission and, you know, and then end up on the other side for the victory. And so we had different colors. We had some features in some music videos. Salute tees, I've had Shiggy support it. And if you visit my Instagram page at salute_tees, you can see a lot of the history where we've like moved around the country and kind of made an impact with just different people understanding what it means to salute one another and like reach your goals. I am the CEO, but I'm the living example of salute. Salute to you for making it through the trenches, you know, and now here you are at the end of your mission, getting ready to receive your victory.
Look, it's called Salute Tees, but it looked like you also got hats too, like fitted hats. Do you sell any other products beyond the t-shirts?
We sure do, girl. Come on now. Just like the Army, we call them the helmets. They got the Salute Tees on them. Helmets, armor.
When you first launched Salute Tees, did you buy a bunch of inventory, have a local printer, have stuff at your house, or did you do the print on demand option?
See me, I cover both ends. We bought a printer, a print press, and I also outsourced.
You were printing your tees.
Oh yeah, okay. I was there printing the tees, learning how to do the process, the vinyl, learning the different cottons that work better with this and that. And at the same time, I was outsourcing professionals that work with me too. See, sometimes I needed a different look. They may have requested some special edition. Making sure they get what they paid for, it's always good to have an outsource.
Cool. So what do you do now? If I buy a Salute tee, is it going to be a print on demand or are you going to mail it to me?
For you specifically, that I'm going to make sure I'll take care of you with the best service. You know, you ain't even got to worry about it. You already know. You know what I'm saying?
Well, thank you.
You want Whitney, you want to put your brand on it, whatever you want to do, I'll make sure it happens.
You customize.
Yeah, we do customize.
Real quick, want to give a shout out to my cousin, Corey Banks, who is one of the Currencies Club biggest supporters. He actually recommended Christian Nelson for the show. He said, hey, I got a friend who's really good. He's killing it here. He's doing good stuff. He'd be perfect for your show. Started following Christian on Instagram. We reached out. We made it happen. But Corey, he bought a couple of your t-shirts too.
Corey's solid, man. We went to high school together. We ran track together. That's my guy. He told me a lot about you. He supported my business, him and his family. Great wealth of knowledge too, talking to Corey. He was a little older than me, but I always looked up to him, man. Always a solid dude.
Salute to Corey.
You know it. Yeah.
All right, cool. So now I want to transition and actually talk about marketing because both of your businesses and brands require marketing. I'm going to start out by talking about social media because, of course, I said I follow Christian on Instagram, which is kind of how we connected. But you have 26,000 followers on Christian Nelson Music. How did you get all those followers?
There was a time where I was going so hard. The algorithm in that it just bammed. Like I was getting tagged, boom, boom. I was doing Forbes under 30 and I was here, I was there, I was Cadillac commercials and I kept popping up. For a stint of maybe 2 months, there was a lot of friend requests. I don't know if it was the Big 3 soundtrack working with Ice Cube for that did it, or me being with Shiggy, you know, and building with him, or me being with Ashton Henry, who's another power player in the credit cleanup world. Like I was gonna say, I'm trying to get my followers up, like up even more, you know what I'm saying? But I'm thankful for what I got though. Be grateful for the support that you do have. You know, what you've already accomplished is still solid.
I like how you said to be grateful for what we already have, because some people think I need 30,000 followers. I need 1 million followers. But to be honest, sometimes the smaller influencers, the people from your own community, the people who might only have 1,000 followers, sometimes they push your brand harder than any of those other people with 1 million followers ever would. My biggest supporters for the Whitney Styles brand, Currency Club brand, all that is the majority of people I met in Grand Rapids. People who have a small circle, but they're sharing everything. They're having conversations about the interview. Did you see when Whitney interviewed such and such? That was dope. This is my biggest takeaway. That word of mouth marketing is very important for whatever you do too.
So important. You know what I mean? Like I tell people, like people follow me on Instagram. I'm worried about the relationship we built right there. Like I'm not worried about your followers. I follow back. You got 1,000 followers. I don't care. I've seen 1,000 follower person do more than a 25 or 30,000, follower person.
So when it comes to the clothing line, Salute Tees, what is your best marketing tip? for pushing a physical product?
Have a marketing budget. Sometimes you have to pay people online so that they can see your brand popping up. What separates your brand from everyone else? Find the right people to promote your brand on your websites, on your social media, manually and automated. You do have to pay those platforms sometimes to keep your brand in front of those people.
Okay, so you just talked about having a marketing budget to push your product. Mm-hmm. How are you using those marketing dollars? To pay influencers, to pay models for your website, or to pay for sponsored ads on social media platforms?
You want to pay those influencers, those TikTokers, those Instagrammers. You want to lock in with them and secure them putting your brand out. Maybe if it's a negotiating thing or a barter system, make sure that they're locked in with you and pushing your brand, and you're doing the same thing. The more, the merrier.
So what advice would you give to a person who wants to start a clothing brand, a merchandise line to support something else they're doing?
You can love your brand, but will other people love it? What does it stand for? Is it just a shirt? Is it just you just want to do this? What's the motto behind it? What's the plan behind it? Now, if you don't want to take it too seriously, then you do whatever you want. But if you want to get people attentive to what you got going on and people buying your product, they want to hear the story. They want to know that it has value. So creating your logo, right? Something that's going to catch people, whether it's acronym based or think it through. Some people just like a dope shirt. Yep. Some people are a little bit deeper than that. Make sure it looks good visually. If there's a storyline behind it, that always helps too. Oh, yeah. And maybe find one influencer to work with regularly.
You have a lot of things to be proud of. You've done a lot. But what is your greatest accomplishment?
Singing the national anthem for Michigan State basketball, looking up at all those people in the Breslin Center, being the one chosen to sing that the anthem for the game, that was a big deal to me. But I have to say Showtime at the Apollo, because it was such a significant time in my life where I really gave everything to be there.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
I didn't have all the money. We didn't fly. We actually drove. I went with my manager. Shout out to Andrew Lathrop. He was my manager then, and he believed in me. And we took that trip, that 12-hour trip.
So look, if you are ever feeling down, sad, stressed out, what song or album instantly puts you in a good mood?
Kirk Franklin's whatever Stomp.
Okay.
That album that was.
We know it.
Some of the songs like Love and More Than I Can Bear and stuff like that. It made me feel like I can still keep going. And so, yeah, I would say that album that Kirk Franklin put out with Stomp on it.
So leave the viewers with an inspirational message.
Your passion will lead you to your wealth. To whom much is given, much is required. When you recognize that you bring a lot to the table, you're required. That's a responsibility. You take on the role of leadership.
So the interview is really coming to an end. I definitely want to thank you for your time. But is there anything else you want to share with the audience before we go?
Y'all can reach me on my website, christiannelsonmusic.com, on my Instagram at Christian Nelson Music. I'm always looking to hear more artists and more entrepreneur stories. And any way that I can help some of these aspiring artists, leaders, fashion designers, musicians, I love to do that.
I need you to tell people why they should watch the Currency Club videos on YouTube and why they should subscribe to the channel.
It's been a pleasant experience with Whitney. Let's support us. Currency Club, it's highlighting some of the aspiring leaders of tomorrow that are doing the most to bring a great impact to today's world. Currency Club is the newest, hottest thing that's blowing up right now. We're putting a limelight on some of you guys that are doing great things in your community and beyond. Gotta lock it with the Currency Club. You already know what time it is. It's your boy C. Nelson checking in.
All right. So on that note, be sure to hit that subscribe button to join the club.